find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews but high on laughs. Let's give these films a cheer. The cult classics, flops and duds, there are topics this year. We're the Ejectables, rolling back the years, celebrating movies that no one else cheers. From bad hairdos to epic fails, we say it's all good. We're the Ejectables, yeah, we're misunderstood.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ejectables. This is the show where Bill, Joe, and Ian, we are movie enthusiasts who join forces with a weekly rotating guest to celebrate movies that we feel have been unjustly panned by the critics or sadly forgotten or ignored by the audiences. Today's guest is Adam. Adam, welcome to the show.
Woo!
Woo!
Thanks for having me back. Am I the first repeat guest on this on the Ejectables, or
besides me? Yeah, besides me.
Yeah, you are welcome again.
What an honor.
Do you want to refresh people about who you are and what you do and how you know Bill?
Yeah, I know Bill from way back. We have a mutual friend, and
we met in a bathroom.
Oh,
yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
My day job is post-production, but I currently have a script going through the screenplay industrial complex, as I like to call it. The screenplay competition industrial complex, as I like to call it. It's just like there's a whole industry of that out there. And I have this script called On the Record that I wrote during the pandemic, and it's making a little noise in these competitions, and I'm proud of it. And so I figured I'd mention that on the Ejectables as well. Awesome. It's going to be in the Beverly Hills Film Festival in competition. They have a screenplay competition arm, and it's going to be competing for the top prize in that festival coming up in April.
Nice. We will be rooting for you. That's great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sirs.
So shall we jump right in?
Sure.
So what movie are you doing, Adam?
So I chose You're a Big Boy Now, a Francis Ford Coppola, an early Francis Ford Coppola film from 66. Sorry. This let's put Coppola's career in context when he directed this. He wrote and directed it. He adapted it from a book. It was a British novel. He transposed the story from London to New York City. This was his UCLA thesis film, which I had no idea that UCLA were doing feature films as thesis films back then, but they I don't think they really do that anymore. I think it's usually shorts. He got his master's degree at UCLA Film School from this film, and then sold it to Seven Arts, which was who owned Warner Brothers at the time. Coppola had already done a few films for Roger. Well, he did one film for Roger Corman called Dementia 13 right before this. It was like kind of a Psycho ripoff. It's a pretty good film in its own right.
Is that the movie that has clips in this movie?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
There is, when they're in the club, the discotheque, as it were. That's his film, Dementia 13, right? Playing in the background.
Okay.
He did. Coppola was at a fork in the road here. He started out doing these weird like nudie films. I don't know if you guys knew this. He did like kind of softcore porn before he did Dementia 13. Then he did Dementia 13.
Yeah, there was a selection in college. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he wrote this film, adapted it, and made it. And it's just it's not like anything in Coppola's filmography before or since.
It's a lot like Jack.
Yeah, and it's Jack is wow. Yeah, but I'll tell you something about that. But it's this film's bona fides for being on the Ejectables is I just listened to a podcast the other day. I don't know if you guys know it. It's called film. What's it called? It's where they draft film drafts, movie drafts. Anyway, they did a whole Francis Ford Coppola draft, all his films. They drafted them all. Your Big Boy Now came in 23rd out of 24.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is Jack was above You're a Big Boy Now.
I think it's just because no one knows it. That's the only
maybe, but they all saw it and they were like, yeah, it's dated and then like Captain EO was below. So Captain EO was like 24th, and then anyway. I think this movie is a masterpiece. Honestly, it's here's the Warner Archives Blu-ray. It's of this genre of film that like that pre-hippie swinging 60s films that the major studios were starting to make. Some obviously The Graduate. This predates The Graduate by a couple years, and Mike Nichols actually saw this film with Buck Henry before they were about to make The Graduate, and they thought that they were screwed. They were like, "Uh-oh, they beat us to the punch." And Buck Henry's like, No, we're good. I'm not saying this is as good as The Graduate.
They're different. They're definitely different from each other.
They're different, but they're both coming of age sex comedies. He was definitely influenced by Coppola. Even says this himself, by the spirit of like Hard Day's Night. Those kind of movies. I also have on this other movies in this genre. I put Hi Mom, the Coppola kind of 60s film. I mean, not Coppola, sorry. De Palma, the De Palma 60s film. I put the Loved One. Have you guys seen The Loved One?
No.
Very, very reminiscent of the spirit of this film. And I think the kid that's in this movie, the lead,
he barely did anything.
No, he had a kind of a sad, young, kind of crazy life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So good.
And the lead star died of suicide.
Yeah, a day before Geraldine Page died.
It's Barbara. Yeah, the one that played Barbara Dare. Barbara Darling, Elizabeth Hartman. Yeah. I saw that she died. She died of suicide,
age 43.
And actually, there was one other one that had like an untimely end besides the lead. I forget who. Oh, Michael Dunn, the little man, the little guy in the movie. Yeah. He died young too, but yeah. So this was of that genre, and it's just got that whole European art film spirit mixed with like 30s screwball comedy. It takes all kinds of radical risks. There's some political statements in the movie. If you recall the scene where he's in the subway and he reads the N words, home. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's wow. But then he has a dream that it's like,
and they're like marching in the
marching, and it's like, and he erases it, and like, it's like the hippies were coming in to make the movies in the mid 60s already. It's a little early for that. And I think that this is kind of a Rosetta Stone for the new Hollywood of the 70s, this film. I mean, I forgot to mention Coppola also worked on The Terror, which was a Corman film that like, I'm convinced that is the actual Rosetta Stone of new Hollywood, because Francis Coppola worked on it, Monty Hellman, Jack Hill, Jack Nicholson's in it, and he also directed scenes in it. And then Peter Bogdanovich used the footage from that film in his debut film Targets. Okay. So that is the like Rosetta Stone, I think, of 70s Hollywood. But this thing here is just a very underrated little art film gem. I think Midnight Cowboy also takes a lot from this film. Like if you look at the scenes where he's just walking around 42nd Street, the lead character.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's very, I think John Schlesinger saw this film and took a lot from his scenes of Joe, I forget his Joe Gillis. No, not Joe Gillis. That's Sunset
You can
Boulevard.
lie to us. We'll never know.
John Boyd's character walking around 42nd Street.
Okay.
There's a wacky rooster in this movie that's
yeah.
like a chastity belt.
And dog as well. Or
dog, which his mom insists is named Rover, but he named it Dog. The relationship with the mom is very strange. She sends him locks of hair in the mail. But Geraldine Page plays the mom.
Great.
She's brilliant in this. She got an Oscar nomination actually for Best Supporting Actress.
And Hartman won the year before, right? For something else.
And say again.
I believe Elizabeth Hartman won the Oscar the year
Patch
before.
of Blue.
Is that what it is?
With Sidney Poitier, where she played a blind woman. And that was a race-related film as well. But I mean, I just like this wild swing stuff, like the typing, the font on the screen, cutting to black and white footage.
Yeah.
The pretzel metaphor, where it ends in this pretzel factory, but they talked about pretzels. Karen Black.
She's great.
Lovely in this. It's her debut.
I never knew her like this.
Like she's just like kind of a charming, normal. She usually plays.
Oh yeah.
She usually played.
Didn't he cast him against type? I believe I read that Francis Ford Coppola cast purposely Hartman and Black.
Oh, okay. So Hartman's usually more the normal.
I guess
the straight person in Black. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know that. Yeah, and if I had one gripe with this film, it would be the relationship. I get that Hartman is like kind of like a sadist, and she likes to toy with men. But I don't know if she would even let him in her life at all. But that's my only gripe with it. Even in this wacky world that this movie creates, the wacky rules of this world. That kind of defies logic for me, but I went with it. And then she's got her character's got sexual assault in her past. I missed
that also.
Oh yeah, the school psychiatrist tried to.
Oh yes,
tried to molest her.
I thought you meant by her. I'm like, I don't remember.
Oh no. Like the character in the past. Yeah.
Do you want to show that clip, Bill?
Yeah, there, we got a clip.
Okay.
What the hell are you doing? Snooping around! I only invited you here out of the goodness of my heart. Damn it, what are you, a cump?
I wasn't snooping, I don't know, it just happened.
Don't talk back to me.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Sweetheart, here's your milk. Come sit with me and we'll talk.
No.
Why not?
I'm pinned to the floor.
No.
I love that scene.
That's an S&M scene.
Oh.
Don't you think? I mean, like the way she toys with him and she's
true.
Like, don't talk back to me. And
they're taking off the pants with the milk. But there's nothing explicit in this movie.
No, absolutely not. There is some like pictures of nudie shots. He goes to the it's daring for its time, right? I mean, he ends up at one of those 42nd Street sex shops where they have the films, the peep show films and stuff. And
Karen, it was the first American film to show full frontal nudity. But it's in those photos and stuff in that shop.
Really?
That's what I read.
That's amazing. I can't believe he got away with it. The budget $800,000. He went over by $200,000, so he was already going over budget, but that's not that bad. And then Seven Arts bought it. It was released, and it was the only American film that was selected for the Cannes Film Festival in 1967. It was in competition. It didn't win anything. I just think this is a wildly underrated film in Coppola's oeuvre, if you will. And it's just, I just love the energy of it. I love the spontaneity of it. And yeah, Coppola was never this playful again, ever. And it's hard to believe that in 7 years he would be making The Godfather, The Conversation, The Godfather 2, and Apocalypse Now, and you'd have this like run in the 70s that's, I think, unparalleled with any other filmmaker. So he was at this fork in the road. He could have just like been like a studio filmmaker of screwball comedies, and he didn't do that. So it's very interesting. Huh?
No, I was just gonna say it's so much fun. I like it stuck with me at the time. I'm like, this is so weird and quirky, but it's such a piece. It's such a shot of the time in New York City. So you really get to see old New York and how much has grown since. And you could tell all the guerrilla filmmaking they did. You see people on the street like looking at the camera, like, "What's that? Huh? What are they doing?" It's so interesting to see New York like that and this very quirky offbeat. It's so good.
And we're doing the director's early movies as a theme for the Ejectables today. So
yes,
yeah,
it makes sense.
that's why Adam picked You're a Big Boy Now.
Yeah, they stole shots from Maze too, which a lot of people thought was Macy's, the department store at the end. Sorry,
but yeah, they hid cameras in there. I read.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, that opening shot of the use of the New York Public Library. It's amazing.
Oh
yeah, and when she walks in and the what's that?
That was so awesome, that shot.
It was so quiet, and then the music just blasts on and she comes through the door. So good.
Beautiful roller skating around the New York Public Library. I mean, you're right. It's a time capsule. There's an automat in this thing with the milk. Yeah. That bit with the milk is just so zany and wacky and screwball comedy and very of its time, but so like I just can't imagine another film, like a film these days, even doing anything like that. And it's beautiful.
I felt like it dragged a little bit in that third chapter, which I think you were kind of saying too. Her sadistic and but overall, I thought it was just a total fun watch.
A joyous romp. Mm-hmm. I found it to be a joyous romp. Definitely one of the better Coppola movies, and to see like what he could have done, because he had to do The Godfather because he needed money for Zoetrope, and so that was just a studio directing gig, and that took him on a different path. But
that's why those are no good.
What
is that? Why those Godfather movies are no good, and they bombed?
Yeah, no. Did you ever see them? They're pretty good, right?
I saw the third one. I'm kidding. I know that
that's the best.
I have not seen them though. I only the.
You just watch the third one. Skip the 1 and 2.
Skip the first two.
Watch the third one, and then it's
embarrassing.
It's crazy because the film he does directly after this is The Rain People, which is like this
I know it's tough.
Very independent road movie, very serious. There isn't like any humor in it at all. It's a good film. I think it's a good film. But it's kind of like his Of Mice and Men. That's how I take that film. But it's just weird that he went, like, he can do these wild swings. He goes from, like, The Godfather to Apocalypse Now to music, to One from the Heart, to, like, teenage angst films. And, like, it's just such an interesting, he's just one of the more interesting filmmakers actor. To Jack, to Dracula.
I love Jack.
Gardens of Stone.
No, I mean, Tucker's cool, though.
Tucker?
Tucker is fantastic.
Horrible.
You don't like Tucker?
Oh, it's terrible. So bad.
Okay.
So I've never seen the whole movie.
Oh, wow.
So chintzy. Oh, a tiger.
Yeah, there is that.
How about Megalopolis?
I never saw it.
Okay, so you didn't see it? I saw it. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I actually liked it, but it might be because of the backstory. Its backstory, you know. Okay. Like how he got it made finally and how he put up his own money. I just massive respect for anyone who's willing to do that.
It's not that bad.
It isn't. It's actually good. And there's I don't know if you guys saw The Brutalist.
I did not, but I did see it.
You did not like it?
No, I liked it, but I did not love that.
Right. And Bill?
I loved it. It was the best movie of the year.
My wife.
Okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was like the wild masterpiece that everyone is saying it is either.
I agree.
But Megalopolis I actually enjoyed more than The Brutalist.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
I mean, and they're about that. I'm bringing that up. I'm comparing the two because they're both about wild architects. They're about like these architects with crazy vision.
Okay.
I wish The Brutalist was longer though.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it.
Yeah.
The intermission was beautiful. That
It
shot.
was. That was something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it actually was. Actually was.
I like the countdown on it. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
I saw it at the Vista. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful movie, beautifully shot movie.
I watched it in IMAX, so that was cool.
Nice.
Didn't impress Ian enough.
Where are you, Ian? Are you in LA?
Connecticut.
Oh, you're in Connecticut. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
In my
Didn't
basement.
impress Ian, The Brutalist, the best movie of the year. He didn't like it.
I thought it had great. He's great. I thought the first half was really. I know we're not talking about that. I thought the first half is really solid and pretty riveting, but then it got stuck in this one place for me, and it just didn't. It kind of just stayed there. Maybe if it were a true story, I would have found it more engaging, but it wasn't. So I'm like, there's just a lot of melodrama in that second half, and I wasn't.
Oh, whoever said it was funny was completely wrong. Like,
no, it's cute.
Wasn't really funny. Yeah.
No.
You know who was funny and brilliant in it, and my favorite part of the movie? Guy Pearce. Thought he was fantastic in the movie.
Yeah, he was so good. Yeah.
He was so good.
I was actually a little distracted by he and his. I know we're talking about that movie now.
Sorry.
He and his son both were kind of broad in it for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
The caricatures of we all.
There's unexpected humor. There is. I know you were tongue in cheek there, Bill, but there is actually unexpected humor in The Brutalist that I just, especially with Guy Pearce. But anyway,
yeah.
So,
Ian, why don't you tell about your pick?
Oh, it's okay. So it's the opposite of you're a big boy now. I did, as we are doing films that are early in people's careers, I did James Mangold's very first film, Heavy, starring Liv Tyler, Shelley Winters, and what's his name?
Taylor Pruitt.
It's right there in front of us.
Taylor
Vince.
Taylor Vince.
I loved this movie when it came out in 1995. I found it's very quiet. It's very, I found it quite moving. I think at the time I related to it a lot more. It's about this guy named Victor who is very unhappy in his life. I wasn't unhappy in my life, but he's very deeply shy guy that works at his mom's diner. And this young college dropout starts working at his mom's diner, and he falls for her big time, but he doesn't have to talk to her. He's a bit older than her as well, and things kind of take off from there. So what I like about this movie is I think it's a quintessential mid-90s indie. It's got very quiet. It's got the like twangy guitar, but I think it's gentle. It's moving. It says a lot without words, which I really appreciate. Do you want to show a clip, Bill?
Yeah. Do I?
Get an idea. Yeah.
Nobody knows? You didn't tell anybody? Victor!
Oh.
Why?
Oh.
You don't know.
I didn't want anything to change.
That's so moving.
It is.
Awesome.
Go ahead. Sorry, Bill.
No, I loved it.
Did you love it?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you didn't like it.
No, I was worried about the Boston Terrier when there's a scene where he leaves that because I used to have a Boston Terrier. I was like, if the dog dies,
I thought of that.
I'm gonna kill Ian. I was so upset.
I
Oh,
thought
when he
of
like
that.
tied it to the front steps. Yeah, no, that dog's in there quite a bit, and
That
right to
dog
the
is
end,
incredible.
the dog.
The
lives.
shots of the dog are incredible. Okay, so I have the story about this film. Okay, so when this film came out in 1995, I was in film school at my local city college, and I had a classmate who just by looking at the trailer was like, "Fuck that movie, man! Like, I hate movies where like like people like overweight people or quiet people or shy people end up with like the hot girl at the end. Like, it's just so not true to life. And he was just so bitter and angry about that. And then that kind of like soured my opinion of that film. I thought I'd seen it back then, but I don't think I saw it all the way through. So upon rewatching it this time, I was like, that's not what this film is at all. He doesn't end up with Liv Tyler. He ends up beautifully with the clerk, or not ends up, but just opens a dialogue with the clerk at the convenience store. It's so it's in a minor key, this film. It's like Ozu and like Bresson. There's the movie lives between like the quiet moments between dialogue more than the actual dialogue itself, especially with the lead character. Milos Forman, I read, helped him along with the script. Milos Forman was his professor at Columbia University when he was writing the script. And Milos Forman loved the bit where he does not tell anybody that his mother died. He's like, that's your movie. That's your movie right there. Concentrate on that. Everyone's great in it. Shelley Winters is great in it. Liv Tyler's great in it. Deborah Harry's great in it. Evan Dando in the small role
from the Lemonheads.
And you know what really stuck out for me was the score by Thurston Moore. From Sonic Youth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did the score, and it was like this kind of brooding. It sounded like an Atticus Ross Reznor kind of score at times. Like, it was like so like almost from a different film, but it worked. Like, it was just like this dark brooding score, but it like worked. I don't know how to explain it, but it really stuck out. What do you think, Bill?
Well, it takes place in Kingston, New York, which is now everyone lives there. So that house would be worth millions of dollars. That's like the guy.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's from the area. That's the area that because he did Copland, James Mangold, after this. So that's all the people, the cops in New York lived there. So that's where the genesis for that movie came out. Dale Pruitt Vince got the job after appearing in Nobody's Fool, which
I love that movie.
In
Beacon, New York. Actually,
Nobody's Fool was before this? I thought it was after this. Okay.
Yeah, it was 94.
That's a great movie.
That is a great movie.
That's awesome. It's also funny.
Say that again?
He's actually not that fat in the movie. It's kind of funny.
He had to gain weight. He had to gain weight for Heavy.
2025. He's actually normal now. It's pretty funny. It was Deborah Harry was great in it. Evan Dando. I guess someone from The Replacements was going to play the Evan Dando role. It's I like this James Mangold more than the Dial of Destiny.
That's why I'm wearing this shirt. Like, he knows how to make a movie.
He does.
Like 310 to Yuma. I like the Bob Dylan movie.
So awesome.
I loved the Bob Dylan movie.
It's good. I'm not even a Bob Dylan fan, and I enjoyed it.
That's why I keep hearing that from a lot of people that aren't Dylan fans, and I'm wearing my Dylan shirt.
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Ken Leopold underpants, so we're good.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. He totally forgot he did that. And Identity. Like, he's Identity.
Bad. Identity is pretty good. It's well shot.
Oh, no, it's well shot. I just thought it was kind of
random.
Okay.
And Logan?
Multiple personality. What's that? Logan is
so good, too.
Fantastic.
I'm not a superhero fan, but that movie is, like, so good.
Same. I love all those, like, the one-off movies like Logan. Those are the ones I respond to. Or the first Joker.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys didn't hate it. I expected.
No. It had that. Definitely had that.
But the Boston Terrier to die would have killed you.
I mean, when he neglects the Boston Terrier, that was hard.
Yeah.
He kind of neglects it, and then they show him feeding the dog. I thought he was going to feed the Boston Terrier like the 2-week-old breakfast that Shelley Winters was eating.
Yeah,
but he didn't.
What'd you think of the creepy Liv Tyler, like the visions of her being dead and her kind of being in his house? That was a little weird.
Yeah, that was like, I thought it was kind of unnecessary,
I
and
agree.
made him creepy. Made him creepier than he needed to be.
Yeah.
And it was a little hit you over the head, obvious with like the poster of like he's in Arrested Development. We get it. Since his dad died, he hasn't grown. He hasn't moved on, and he's still got the poster of what's her name from the 70s, huh? Farrah Fawcett. Yeah. That was a little like over the head kind of thing. But other than that, it was he made so many like subtle, beautiful choices that like first time filmmakers don't generally make.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty assured film for a first film.
Great pick, Ian.
Thanks, guys. Seek it out, people. It's worth a look.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, what'd you do, Bill?
Okay, so I'm bending the rules a little bit because it's his third movie.
What?
Yeah.
Fired.
I picked Barry Levinson's Tin Men from 1987. So he did as a director. He was a prolific writer before this. So he wrote a lot of movies. Well, he co-wrote High Anxiety. He wrote on the Carol Burnett Show. Then him and his ex-wife, they were pretty prolific, and the final thing they did was they rewrote Tootsie. And then Barry Levinson did Tin Man. Diner, which is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did The Natural. And then the same year had Young Sherlock Holmes and Tin Men come out.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what came first, but this is part of his Baltimore trilogy. It's the second movie in his Baltimore movie, and it stars Richard Dreyfuss and Danny DeVito, and they are Tin Men salesmen in the 50s, and what Tin Men were, even my dad grew up in the 50s, so he knew all about this. These people sold aluminum siding, but they kind of were kind of like hucksters, convincing people to get the siding under very dubious circumstances. Rodney Dangerfield was one. That's why he had to change it. Sorry. It's okay. That's usually easier.
Steve, stop.
My dog hears it. He's like,
live recording. Steve.
And so the movie centers around two Tin Men that get into a car accident and how they try to get revenge.
Steve loves Tin Men.
Tin Men. Yeah, right? How many barks?
How many barks?
There's an Amazon guy outside.
Hey, it's okay. I'm gonna show a clip real quick.
Yeah, show a clip.
Are you a lunatic? Are you telling me that you didn't see me coming out of this lot? Huh? There's a red light there, for crying out loud. You're supposed to stop.
Me? Are you crazy? What, do you want to just back into the middle of the street like that? A man's driving along, and you want to back into the middle of the street. What kind of driving is that?
There's a red light there, you know? I was making a space for myself. That's what I was trying to do in order to get into the street.
You bolted out of nowhere.
That's something you're supposed to do.
You bolted out of nowhere, pal.
I bolted.
You bolted out of nowhere.
I bolted.
Bolted out of nowhere.
I bolted at 6 miles an hour. I bolted into the street. You schmuck.
I saw it with my dad in the theater. It was not like a super, super big hit that Diner was. It made some money. It was back in the day when Touchstone made these adult comedies. But I'm grateful it exists. Another great part of the movie is Barbara Hershey. Mm-hmm. She plays Danny DeVito's wife and gets entangled in the revenge scheme between these two Tin Men. Definitely one of Levinson's best. And what'd you guys think?
Adam?
I loved it. I mean, I loved it. The specificity of the world is outstanding. I mean, a movie about guys that sell aluminum siding is fantastic. Steve, stop. The early 60s. Sorry, guys.
No worries at all.
The early 60s milieu is fantastically observed.
Steve, what do you think?
It's actually fine when you're talking. We can hear you fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay. Ian, what did you think?
I liked it. I love. We had covered Avalon on this show, which is what the third movie in his trilogy.
Oh yeah,
It's a quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy.
Right?
Yeah, Liberty Heights is the fourth one. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I love Avalon. I really love Levinson. You know, Rain Man, of course. Good Morning Vietnam. Bugsy. So as Bill knows, I'm not a huge comedy fan, and this is not like an overt comedic film. So I really liked it. I love the actors in it, especially J.T. Walsh. Nice to see him, and Bruno Kirby, and John Mahoney was so great in this. And of course, the lead actors. Some of the situations were a little. They're such unlikable characters. The two leads. For me, I didn't want to spend a ton of time with them, but I enjoyed this movie. I liked it. So I really have nothing bad to say about it other than, the Fine Young Cannibals made it feel very 80s, which is a little distracting. But beyond that, I think it's a good movie. Good.
Yeah, they did the music for
it. They did the music. What's the song? Good.
Oh yeah, Good Thing.
Good Thing is very Northern Soul, early 60s soul sounding, even though it was recorded in the 80s. So it makes sense. I'm convinced that Barry Levinson was like a mod or something when he was a kid, or was into like, because in Liberty Heights, he also has this whole thing where they go to like a James Brown concert, and I'm convinced that he rode a scooter at some point, because they were all like skinheads and scooter kids were listening to that soul back then. But it's just, you mentioned the supporting cast. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Like all the side characters, it's a hangout movie. I just like watching those dudes hang out in pool halls.
Oh, the scene is like, do you know the guy? You know the guy? What guy? You don't know the guy? No, I don't know the guy. What guy? It's just that dialogue so fun.
Or when they're making fun of Gunsmoke is hilarious on a Bonanza, or is it Gunsmoke?
They never talk about what was it? They never talk about sex.
Yeah, there's no women.
Oh yeah,
there's just Tarantino, right? I mean, they're talking about pop culture.
Mm-hmm. In Avalon too, they had dialogue like that.
Yeah. You know who Richard Portnow is? He's also in. Yeah. He's in Good Morning Vietnam too. I love this cast of characters, and it's a movie about middle-aged men. Never gonna happen now. It's either really young people in these movies, or like Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro in a heist movie. Like,
there's
comedy.
no movies about us.
There's no movies about us, our age group. Just like trying to make a living.
I have a crazy Barry Levinson story.
Okay.
So, did you ever see that movie Blow? That character?
Yeah.
So Barry Levinson went to Manhattan Beach, I think in the late 60s, and he had a roommate, and his roommate, let's take an improv class or comedy class and to meet chicks. And Barry Levinson just sat in the back in the corner. He didn't want to do it. And the teacher said, you can't do this class. You can't do this class if you're not going to say anything. So Barry Levinson learned to improv through this class. His roommate that he was taking this class with just vanished off the plane, and that guy was the Johnny Depp character in Blow.
Whoa!
What?
Crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah, from Boston, whatever his name was, I forgot.
What an interesting life! Wow. Yeah.
And Tin Men is better than Blow.
What?
Tin Men is a much better film than Blow.
Blow is, I didn't like at the time, but it's held up pretty great.
Oh really?
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, dude.
At the time I thought it blew.
Ted Demi was awesome. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
At his time, everyone thought it would be like a Goodfellas. It's not. It's a drama.
Right.
Yeah.
Monument Ave. I like
Great,
that Ted Demi film.
Great fucking movie, dude. That's an ejectable right there.
Yeah, totally.
I saw it, but I don't remember.
And Who's the Man? I love with Dr.
Oh yeah,
Lover.
That's right.
I'm gonna make you watch that, Ian.
Who's the Man? Maybe I've seen it.
You've not seen Who's the Man. You're the
Who's in it?
Planet. Ed Lover and Dr. Dre.
Oh, maybe I didn't see that.
There's no way you saw
Yo MTV Raps.
Yes, Yo MTV Raps.
Okay, I didn't see that. I probably did.
With the House of Pain. House of Pain does the theme song. It's one of the best theme songs ever.
Okay, maybe
that was Demi's first movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Demme, not his brothers.
Who passed away. No, it was his uncle was Jonathan Demme.
Oh yeah, his
Jonathan
uncle.
Demme.
Oh, it was his uncle. I thought it was his brother. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you know what's great about Tin Man though? That it's the Barbara Hershey storyline is there and it's fine, it's great, but it's a love story between Dreyfuss and DeVito, really. I mean,
and she is so good. She really
she is.
She is.
She is beautiful and so talented, and I don't feel like there ever was. I know Those Beaches was a big hit, but I don't feel like there ever was something that was like really encapsulated. You know how
Pallbearer, which you had shared with us.
Yeah, it's a very slight movie.
Oh yeah,
it's a very slight movie. No.
But she was really good in that. It was kind of slight.
Yeah, she's so good in Tin Man. I believe her as a Baltimore housewife. And that was actually shot at his house where he grew up. I mean, Baltimore now is brutal. Like,
yeah.
Like it doesn't look like that anymore, but it's a pretty corrupt city. But definitely, he shot it there. Think of all those cars, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
they dented. Oh,
John Mahoney was so good in it. Oh my god,
he was. He gave it a lot of.
His supporting cast is so great. Both of their groups of friends are just fantastic.
Yeah, legends in there. Yeah.
And the writing, I mean, Levinson. I was when I was watching it, and I texted Bill. I was like, I forgot Levinson was just such a great writer. I miss that Levinson where he would just write this. He just had a feel for dialogue, man. That just like that you don't hear anymore. And
one year he did Young Sherlock Holmes, and he did this. It's crazy. Well, Chris Columbus wrote Young Sherlock Holmes, but
is this anything like that series that came out? I don't know if it was Netflix or whatever, called Beef, where the two people like crash into each other.
Yeah,
each other. Is it?
It is kind of like that, where the escalating. Yeah, the
I haven't seen it,
revenge.
But it's similar from what I.
Beef was good. I like Beef.
I feel
like you're right. I didn't even make that.
Beef is more nuanced because they had so many episodes, so they make it believable about why someone would believe. This is just right off the bat, like, you know, I hate you. And so,
I love it how he's like pulling out. Yeah,
Richard Dreyfuss completely wrong here. He was totally.
I know he was.
There's no defense.
Yeah.
The DeVito was totally
in the right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
By the way, I totally like you can't pull out. When I was a kid, no, I was like, I mean, there was no nuance. Beef, it's like you can see how things escalated, and so it's very well written. This is well written because you just got to go with it because they're two bombastic people, you know, that would get into trouble like this, and they're just chaos agents, and that's the whole point of it. You know, Danny DeVito's miserable and stuff like that, and a nowhere career, and then Richard Dreyfuss, you know, I guess he's like a swinging bachelor.
Yeah, I guess.
He can't be tied down. You know, Barbara Hershey is like, I love you. And he's just like, but
I felt bad for her, but then I guess they do fall in love. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot to forgive. You know, I'm not going to give away some spoilers, but
we do spoilers. Come on.
You know, it's like, hey, we met because I wanted to steal you away from your husband. Danny DeVito does not act like a Baltimore guy either. It's like,
oh no,
yeah, because I spent some time in Baltimore. But awesome movie. He's one of his best, I would say.
He and Levinson and John Waters, right, are like the patron saints of Baltimore, right? And they're covering very different. What's that?
I think David Dobkins from Maryland as well.
Oh, David Dobkins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just funny how those two cover very different parts of Baltimore.
Whatever's in the water, I want it, man.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful film, man.
Yeah, very well.
This is a hard week because none of us did any of the movies.
No.
I'll change that next week. Don't you worry, Bill.
All right. So, Adam, if you have to pick a movie, you can't pick your own. What movie do you pick?
I'm gonna go with Tin Men because it's just one of those movies that you just don't see anymore. And I can see a movie like Heavy being made today.
Sure.
And Heavy is like, it's definitely of that 90s indie thing, but it's so beautiful. It is beautifully done.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go with Tin Men just because I miss those kind of movies.
Ian, what movie do you pick?
I'm going to go, and again, this is hard because I think all the picks are good this week. Just because it surprised me a lot. I love seeing New York in that time period. That snapshot of New York. I'm going to go with You're a Big Boy Now.
Okay. And I'm going to go with You're a Big Boy Now. So, Adam, you get the
Yeah! Congratulations! Woo-hoo! Adam, thank you for joining us again. Really,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now,
It was really fun.
And make sure to like and subscribe. And
wait, this episode is brought to you by
gridandscript.com. If you need a movie, need a screenplay coverage, check it out, my friends. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Pop the popcorn, grab a Coke, and find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews, but high.